whole purpose is to be left at like, you know, public restrooms or just anywhere for people for kids to read. And he was also virulently anti-Catholic.
Oh yeah,
anti Freemason, you know, all the stuff, all of the above, but very anti-Catholic. And actually, my favorite title of a Jack Chick tract was "The Death Cookie," which
I
was
almost knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
which was about the communion wafer. That's the best. Like, that should be a band name, just Death Cookie. Well, no, if someone's listening, you want to form a metal band or some shit, just Death Cookie.
My favorite was Trick, which is one they don't publicly distribute anymore, but you can still get them from their website if you want them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the website, you can find all of them. You can at least you used to be able to. You can read every single Chick tract, and they are hilarious. Well, they would be hilarious if they just weren't so damn serious. You know, like he was 100% serious. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, and what I liked about Trick was it starts out with this ridiculous lie, this total absolute lie, that every year emergency rooms all around the country are packed full of children who are suffering from poisoned Halloween candy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's like, no, that doesn't happen. That literally does not happen. Okay.
That's another thing from the Satanic Panic era, was the poison Halloween candy. Yeah.
Yes. And emergency rooms are full. And it's like, wait, if that happened even once, do you think we'd do it next year? Come on. You know?
Yeah.
The FBI did a study of, and I don't have a citation, but it's easily Googleable. The FBI did a study a number of years ago about poisoned Halloween candy. And they found that in a 20-year period, 20 children had died of poisoned Halloween candy. So it's 1 per year on average. Of those 20, 18 had been poisoned by their parents. So it's like something that's just almost doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, and he was just doing his thing. But again, people bought that and believed it. Yeah. And it was a holy lie. It was something that fit the narrative you already believe. So instead of looking up, gee, I didn't hear any kids around here dying of Halloween candy, like nobody questioned it. Nobody fact checked it. And people, oh, you can't go out there. You'll die of Halloween candy. And even though that really almost never, ever happens, it continues to exist in urban legend, you know? And yeah, Rebecca Brown worked hand in glove with Jack Chick on her first 2 books, which are He Came to Set the Captives Free and Prepare for War. And
that's a subtle title.
Yes. Right. And she had just these wild, off-the-wall stories. At some point, she's confronted by a werewolf. She, like, astral traveling people break into her house and, like, are beating her up and destroying her stuff. Just crazy things. Elaine, her patient, who she also is helping get away from demons, says that she was at one point she was literally a bride of Satan. And of course she met with people at the Vatican and, you know, with all the government bigwigs, and they're all in on this together. And kind of the point of the podcast I did there was that the whole QAnon universe, the idea that the entire world could be run by Satanists, and not even like, those of us who are listening to this and talking about this kind of understand what Satanism actually means. But this is the like comic book version of Satanists, and that they literally run the whole world and eat children. And she came up with that way before it caught on, but she kind of laid the foundation for all that. And after the first 2 books, Jack Chick refused to work with her anymore.
Wow. She was too extreme for Jack Chick.
Yes, you've burned some bridges when you're that far out there. But her books are available now. Her ministry continues. She's under the name Yoder. I'm sorry, I have to take that back. Her husband continues the ministry. She did die a year or two ago of natural causes at an older age. Did a lot of damage. Yeah.
She reminds me a little bit of Sherry Shriner.
Oh yeah,
I'm familiar with Sherry Shriner. Yeah,
I would say the big difference is I think Sherry Shriner believed the crap that she was saying. I don't really think Rebecca Brown believed a lot of that stuff. I think she found a really good marketing system and was really making a lot of money. Her books have sold millions and her ministry was going. And it's the kind of ministry we were expected to donate a lot of money. So it was, I'm not saying she didn't believe any of it, but she believed it in a way that was very prosperous for her. Sherry Shriner, I think, was just crazy. That's a different story. Go ahead.
Definitely, I think she found her niche. But you're right. I mean, all this stuff with QAnon and all this right now, it's recycled again and again and again.
Yes. Well, I remember hearing that Xerox machines are all based on 666. So I don't know. If you copy something, it belongs to the devil? I don't even know what that means. Or they already have the UPC code things for when we all have to get the number of the beast, and they can just scan it on your hand. And I heard all that stuff back in the early 90s.
Yeah, that was all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
None of this is new,
Barcode technology was the number of the beast and all that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I remember people were saying that Ronald Reagan was the Antichrist because each of his names had 6 letters. Ronald Wilson Reagan. People were serious about this stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember 88 Reasons Why the World Will End in 1988.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
I do remember reading 1994 ? A hugely popular book at the time by Harold Camping.
Yeah.
And
Camping's got a good reputation. He's been right so many times.
Holding it absolute zero, but yes. And it's funny to me, it is what it is, but it's odd to me that he did put, in case I'm wrong, it's going to be 2012. In case it's not 1994 that Christ returns, which, spoiler alert, if he did, they covered it up.
Well, some people think we're in an alternate reality because they turned on CERN at sometime around 2012. So that's
that's probably what happened.
Let's talk about your thoughts on the whole Mothman thing. You had a different kind of interesting take on this.
I do. And hey, I never thought I'd get a chance to talk about this publicly. That's very nice. I mean, other than the podcast that I put out. Yes. I think, now, I am not denying anyone else's experience. If you had an experience, I would never tell you didn't. Okay. But I do I try to be open-minded and look at other possibilities. There's an image of Mothman, and that's of a humanoid, broad-shouldered, like stocky humanoid with no head and 2 big red eyes, and then these big wings behind him. And he takes off and he flies, but he doesn't fly by flapping these huge wings, which begs the question, well, why do you have wings if you don't need them to fly? You can just sort of levitate straight up. What are these wings for? It doesn't seem like a biological creature in the least. Okay, it doesn't to me. What it does seem like is if you're a person minding their own business in the woods at night, and you come across this is what you'd see. But what it might really be would be an army soldier with a helmet on and a bunch of gear strapped to his body. And when I was in the service, we did this thing where if we're out at night ops, we'd put red lenses over our flashlights and hook a flashlight onto the strap that holds what we call 782 gear. It holds up your canteens and ammo pouches and all your gear. You have this like suspenders, and they have a place to hook a flashlight on there. So you can see, and so other people can see you. And it's, it's safety and it's convenience, but they're red. And if you look at a paratrooper, if you came around a corner and suddenly there's this person standing there, and it's a paratrooper with all his gear on and a helmet and 2 red flashlights, and behind him, billowing out like wings, are his parachute that he just landed on, or otherwise, the jetpacks are real, okay? Just drop that. Jetpacks are totally real. They exist. They're a thing, and they're not new. They've been around since the 50s and 60s, and the U.S. military tested them. And they tried to get a jetpack that would work for a single infantryman to be able to fly in to enemy territory and land and fight. And they never considered it to be safe, at least what we're told. They never considered it to be safe enough. And so they discontinued it back around 1960. But that may or may not be completely true. But they definitely tested them. That's open source. That's out there. And there was a story in Soldier of Fortune magazine, which, hey, it is what it is, but it does publish some true things that have happened. And in there, some former paratroopers said that they had been the cause of the Mothman phenomena, that they had been sent to West Virginia to test during Vietnam, to test a certain type of paint for painting targets. And they'd also done high altitude, low opening parachute maneuvers practice. Okay. And that to me is an alternative explanation for the Mothman. That if you saw that, it would scare the hell out of me. I mean, you're just out, you're doing your thing, and there's this person. It's like a person, but it's got this billowing wings. It has no apparent head, which if you're wearing a parachute and all your gear and a helmet, it definitely gives you an impression of not having a head when you have the 2 red flashlights at shoulder height, on your body. If you just see that for a moment, it'd be really easy to see pretty much what's described as a Mothman. That would also explain the presence of foreign agents in the area. And I've speculated that some of the men in black weren't, ultra-terrestrials or something. They were foreign intelligence agents who were looking into whatever the military was doing in the Point Pleasant area at that time, which may have been something. And Keel kind of hinted at this in the Mothman prophecy, so he didn't really follow up. He just said that there's a military scandal that would get everybody in trouble if they knew about it. But he just it's a one-off. He just mentions it and moves on to other stuff. And
I do remember him saying that in the book, yeah.
Yeah, and I really wish he would have elaborated on that, but that wasn't what he was looking for. That wasn't his focus. And I've just wondered if you came over from rural Russia or Bulgaria, maybe you would not eat Jell-O, Maybe they sent you over here to find out what's going on because you're the guy that they've taught to speak English, but you don't speak it like an American would. And, Jell-O, I don't think they had Jell-O in the Soviet Union. You're looking like, what the hell is this? And you may have acted odd and looked odd, not supernaturally weird, but just off. Well, that's the way that a poorly trained, inexperienced spy would act.